Important scientific fact. European album is the best format for comics. Period.
That guy is obviously right, 100%. Mr. Analog Comics from Finland. If you dig my channel, there's a high probability that you will dig his channel as well. He did a video about the European album format, actually a two-part video, and I want to take it from there. So let's talk about the European album format, or I want to add just my 2 cents about this theme, because as Analog Comics pointed out, rightfully so, that there's not only one European album format, but many. All of them have in common that they're bigger than the American comic book format, but there are a lot of differences. Like, most publishers tend to do the albums a bit bigger than this old standard-sized Asterix comic here. I would say most of the publishers do their comics a bit bigger. So usually when you buy a European comic album, they're even bigger than the old Asterix comics. But I don't want to talk about size, as you can see here, because there are even bigger special editions, which come into play in some seconds here. I want to talk about these as well, of course. And if they are really necessary, I want to discuss that as well. But I want to talk about 3 European sci-fi series stories. Storm, UCC Dolores, and Negalyod. So, since I've talked on my channel a lot about Don Lawrence and Storm already, I think I'll start with something different. Negalyod was one day, I did a video, I guess, about this one here in another comic a long time ago. Anyhow, this book here deserves a second look by any means. It has a bit, it looks a bit like a mix between James Stokoe and Möbius. So the artist, or sorry, Vincent Perriot, who did the writing, the drawing, everything. I think the coloring is by by Florence Breton. So he didn't color the stuff here, but everything else is by him. And look what you see here in this comic. It's really breathtaking. The world we can witness here in this comic. It's a desert planet. Somehow in Earth in a parallel universe with dinosaurs and obscure flying machines made out of wood and some precarious materials. Primarily it looks great, but the story is very fun and very linear told, at least in the first book here. We are sucked into this world here, and there's a city underneath, or in deep rifts and deep valleys there, and it's a strictly hierarchical however, a world with different stories, so to speak. Here you have a very good overview about this world here. It's a fantastic world. We ride into this with our central hero, who is a simple dinosaur boy. Not a cowboy, but a dino boy, if you will. And he will be the center of some kind of turmoil on this planet here. Not to spoil too much here. As you can see, Perriot tries a lot of different stuff to give us his story, and I enjoyed the story, the first part, immensely, and so it was a no-brainer when Negalyod 2 came out that I really had to have it. Negalyod 2, which came out end of last year, 2022, subtitle The Last Word, a tome in the same format as the one before, almost the same thickness, page count and everything. Still Vincent Perriot as a writer and artist. I guess the colorist hasn't changed as well. But still, this book here, the story, especially the art, not so much. The art is still great. The art is fantastic. But the story is something I have to warn you a bit about. There's a lot of time travel, mysticism, spirituality in it. And maybe Perriot would have needed an editor who had stopped him here and there and told him, hey, what you're trying here is too much to tell us the history, the future, and everything about this planet here, this parallel universe, Earth. Yeah, sometimes it looks a bit like he tried to chew more off, bite more off than he could chew. Or maybe he had a trilogy in mind and now had to settle with a two-part story. I don't know. Still, look at the art here. It's just amazing. And maybe you can understand my sudden urge. When I looked at these pages, I thought, hey, I have to buy another book that I will show you in a second. Even if I still not 100% wide with the story here. It's stuff for a second read, but give me art like this and you can tell me the most strange story in the world, and I will at least try to understand it. And this story is understandable. It makes it sticks the landing in a way, in a very spiritual, mythical way. Look at the format of this second book here. So format is one thing. Why I really thought and still think that I need this book, and that it was no mistake to buy Negalyod, the black and white edition, on fantastic paper. And maybe you thought the same thing when looking at the pages before, that the color is maybe even something that is not necessary for the story here. I really can tell you that this is the kind of stuff that I want to show you for hours and hours. This book here is in French, the Blanc et Noir edition, and but I don't care. I mean, I have read the German version, and I still can read the German version, and while taking glimpses into this beauty here. This is such a beautiful book. And it's unbelievable what... just speechless. And we're just some pages in. This book here is such a beauty. And I really wonder why they haven't published the book Negalyod in this version in the first place and left the colors. I mean, I know colored comics sell better, but I don't think that I'm alone. Even this stuff here, which is made obviously for coloring, looks beautiful. It's absolutely breathtaking and gorgeous. And one case where I haven't put a marker here in this book because almost each page is just made to be framed. Fantastic. Gorgeous. So, one thing is to be said about these black and white editions. They tend to sell out pretty quickly, some of them. There was an comparable edition of Negalyod 1, which is sold out. Couldn't find it anywhere. If you have a tip for me, please tell me, because really I want to get a similar edition for the first volume. On to the next European sci-fi series I want to speak today, and this is UCC Dolores by the couple Tarquin, Didier and Lise. This is the first album of a series. I guess 4 or 5 albums are out right now. And it's a space opera, very pulpy, and around this lady here, a nun who was brought up in a monastery and now leaves her convent or the monastery there. And I can tell you when I fall in exactly the page when I fall in love with this comic here, and it was pretty much in the beginning here. So give me an overview about the world like this, and I'm hooked. There's still something about the faces that looks a bit generic to me. But this has a lot of maybe Blade Runner vibes and stuff like this that I'm really interested right there. And the story developed pretty quickly. She finds her companions, some weird robot killer fighting dude who looks a bit like taken out from a Rick Remender comic, now I think about it. But, and a robot, however, guy. And, yeah, she inherited a spaceship. So we have everything right there for long-lasting, fun, not to taken too seriously space opera saga. It reminds me a bit of Indigo, German sci-fi comic I spoke about a while ago. And if you liked Indigo, for an example, then probably you will like this book here as well. And one reason why I picked this up here is that there is a special edition of this comic here as well. Actually, I bought this first because it was available for half price or somehow. And I thought, hey, for the price of a normal album, oversized, I'll try it. And I liked it quite a bit, what I saw. Interestingly enough, because this is a black and white version, as you will see, I had some problems with the story to understand it. So here the color is really necessary when you will read it just in black and white. Some stuff is a bit unclear, so I thought, yeah, good, I'll take the colored version as well. This looks great. This is the page that I've showed you before. And actually, especially the faces without these washes, these computer coloring gradients, looks much better in my opinion. In this way here, in this black and white way. But yeah, there's no discussion. Some stuff is just a bit clearer, easier to read in the colored version. And still, I'm very happy with this book here. And if you like UCC Dolores, you should consider at least to buy this beautiful book right there. So last of the 3 sci-fi comics from Europe that I want to show you is Storm by my old pal Don Lawrence. And this is actually an early story, The Legend of Yggdrasil, where lots of dinosaurs and stuff, eye candy, silly, pulpy sci-fi adventures. No reason to talk too much depth in it. It's a nice science fiction adventure story, like all Storm stories are, more or less. And the reason, or the excuse to talk about Storm again, is that they put out these new, bigger, in Germany they are called Diamond Edition, versions of the book here with a new cover, but otherwise it's exactly the same album, but yeah, published in a way bigger format, as you can see here. This is huge, and well, the fantastic painted art of Don Lawrence, this makes total sense, at least in my opinion. Not each page, when you compare it closely, is really deserves this bigger page size, because some now suddenly feel a bit blurry. Yeah, in particular this page here, I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't really looks out of focus or so, but when you see it in the original usual album format, there's not too much of an improvement to see. But on some pages it is, and with old ages like mine, size matters anyways, and so yeah, it's just a huge, fantastic story and picture and art book. It's a bit questionable if you really want to shell out the amount of bucks that you need for this book here. They are very pricey, and yeah, you can argue this thing here is limited to to 444 copies. So I don't blame the publisher for the price, but they are a bit expensive, the stuff here. And to be honest with you, they would have a hard time to sell more than 444 copies, because comics are, as I said it again and again, it's very niche, very niche in Germany here. So yeah, this is practically what I want to say about the 3 series here and the special editions that come with the series here. And thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.